How's it going, everybody? Looks like, we got some of the regulars in here tonight already. Cool, cool. So can y'all see me okay, hear me okay, all that good stuff? All right, great. And as usual, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for tonight. Oh, hello from Russia. Oh yeah, you've been here before. Welcome back. Yeah, so I was thinking about what to do tonight, and doing a lesson the other day, I came across a thing that is just like part of stuff I teach, and kind of forgot about it. I haven't seen it for a while, and I thought, all right, well, this will be a cool thing to go over with you guys tonight. So probably the title, Dirty Blues. What is this? Is just it's like a song, if you will, that I wrote a long time ago, and I've never really done anything with it. But I was showing it to a friend, and she says, "Oh, that sounds like Dirty Blues." So that's kind of been the working title for it forever. But anyway, it would just I thought it would also be a good thing just for, so again, you can see the like the 12 bar blues, like the 1-4-5 chord progression, all that stuff in like a different different format than what you may have seen before. So this, oh, my guitar's going to stay in tune. It's having a hell of a time. Yeah, so this has like a real kind of like an 80s, vibe to it, but that's when I grew up, so that's bound to happen. Anyway, it reminds me a little bit of Tora Tora, that band Tora Tora, that they were kind of at the very end of the 90s. They kind of came out right when grunge and everything was gonna, was getting ready to take over. But anyhow, that's what this kind of reminds me of. It just kind of got a vibe like that. Yeah, so let's take a look at this. And as usual, if anybody's got questions or anything, feel free to put them in the chat there, and we'll see if I can answer them. Okay. Had to look at the transcription. I have a tendency to like forget how to play certain things, and then my brain like ad-libs something else. So it would be, similar, but I just want to make sure I'm showing you what's on the tabs, not it, being confused or anything. So this is this first part of this is just made up of just single notes. So we're going to be pedaling the open A string, and you want to palm mute that. You want to have the, you don't want, you want to palm mute that. And then the other notes, the notes that are changing, are on the D string. And so these notes you don't palm mute. So you're like, palm mute and then not palm mute. So we start off with this. We're on the 7th fret of the D string. So we've got 2 pedals of the, again, I better keep this open so I can, so I can make sure that I'm doing this right. Yeah, okay. So you've got 2 pedals of the open A, and then the 7th fret of the D string, then 1 pedal of the A, and then the 5th fret. So then we do another single pedal of the string to the 4th fret of the D string. Then back to the 5th fret. So 1 pedal, back to the 5th fret. Yeah, so we start when we on the 5th fret to the 4th fret, back to the 5th, back to the 4th, back to the 5th, and then slide that up to 7. So that's like that's just like this little first part, but that makes up a lot of this. That's like it's a recurring riff. So with this, it's just all made up of 8th notes for the most part. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and then on you pick when you pick this last 5, it's on the and of 3, and then you slide to 7, and that's the this is on the downbeat of 3, and then when you slide to 7, it's a dotted quarter note, so it's like and 4 and. So that's the part that rings out longer. So as far as like the counting for it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then it goes on to the next part. So if you're looking at your transcription, what I just played was the first and the second measure. All right, and then the third measure is actually the same as the first. So back to the 2 pedals of the A, to 7 on the D string, pedal the A, 5 on the D string, pedal the A, 4 on the D string. So it has the same. Instead of going, we're going to go. But it is the same timing. It still rings out for the same same duration. Excuse me. There's something like I might have to go get a drink of water or something. There's something stuck in my throat. Sounds like UFO. Okay, cool. I haven't heard that one. Can you give me a song example? Because I'd like to look it up. Yeah, so this is, all 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then it just repeats. Okay, pedal the A string. So what it is it's like they're like a really simple bass line that would be on this as well. The guitar's doing the bass might just be going just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so what we're doing is we're playing that with the bass, but the parts we're where we're playing these other notes, we're obviously not doing that. You're just like pedaling. That's probably like a really lousy explanation. Like a better well, in a lot of like hard rock, you know, like they'll have like the that'd be like pedaling, but I'm pedaling the low E. I hope that answers your question. Like I said, that wasn't a real great that wasn't a real great answer. See, we're only 11 minutes in, and you guys are already uh, giving me the hard questions. So, good job. Okay, so that's like the first 4 measures. Now, after it does that, it goes to measure 5. It's the measure 5 and measure 6 is the same as 1 and 2. So it's basically going to repeat the same thing, except one difference at the end that I'll show you. Rock Bottom. So the song's Rock Bottom by UFO. I'll check that out. Yeah, so now it's like you're starting the riff over again, like it just repeats. Now on this last time, we're going to go 7, 5, 4, 5, 4, and then we're going to do this little natural harmonic thing. So I'm just for those of you who maybe don't know how to do a natural harmonic. So you have harmonics all over all I'm doing is I'm just touching the string. I'm not pressing down hard enough to actually fret. So like the 5th fret is a really good one, the 7, 12th fret, but they're really everywhere. Those are just the best ones. 5, then if we go to 6, it doesn't have the same ringing. So what I'm doing is I'm just starting at the 5th fret, and then I'm just picking, and as I'm picking, like, you know, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E, be like trill picking. Just I'm going from the 5th fret up, I think it says to the 9th, and then it would go into the next part of the song. Yeah, I have it tabbed where it just goes to the 9th fret. You can go higher than that. It doesn't really matter. It's more or less just to kind of put that I don't know, I call it a sound effect, but it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool sounding, like a cool guitar sound. All right, so. All right, so that's the first 8 measures. So that riff, as far as the context of this being, like I said, a song, the way I had it mapped out was the part that I just played would be like the intro, and it could be like the like at the whole end of the entire cycle of this. You know, it could just be a way to kind of loop it back together. I'll identify the parts as we go as to what I had planned to do with it. Okay, so let's see. So that puts us on to measure 9. And before actually I go on, does anybody have any questions on this or anything? Is there anything that did I go over it too quick? Anything like that? Now'd be the time to, before we move on, in case there's something that you need some help with or whatever. I'm more than willing to. I mean, we're making good time. We're only 15 minutes in, so. you're scared, no reason to be scared. All right, so let's just go ahead and move along then. So starting on measure 9, this is like the part that I was kind of like looking at as like a verse for the song. So it's kind of got a similar vibe to what we were just doing, and there's actually a couple of ways that you can play this. So the way that I've got it written, it's all eighth notes. So it's like a shuffle, but a little different than like your typical shuffle. So you can start off here and put your first finger onto the second fret of the D string, and then you'll be fluctuating between playing the 5th fret with your pinky and the 4th fret with your 3rd finger, all on the D string. Dirty Blues reminds me of your blues from the White Album, Total Ranch. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know why this isn't something that never occurred to me to like just Google if like Dirty Blues is like a thing. Like maybe there's some sort of a subgenre of that or something. But that was just what my friend said. She says, "Oh, it sounds like Dirty Blues." So that's just what it's just been like the working title for 20 years. Okay, so we're gonna start off. So we're on the 2nd fret, and we're gonna be playing the A string and the D string together. So like 1 and then we're gonna go to the 5th fret, 2, and then back to the 2nd. So 1 and 2, and then to the 4th fret. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's like the first measure of this part. So that's measure 9. Now starting on the next measure 10, back to the 4th fret, 2. So 1 and 2 and then we're going to come back to the 4th fret and slide to the 5th fret, and that's tied to a quarter note. So that part's like now. So that's like half of it. So the other half of it, 2nd fret for 1 and then back to the 5th fret for 2, the 2nd fret for and. So this one is actually the same as measure 9. Now, on this next measure, what would that be? 11, 12. It's the same as that is measure 10. So we're like, except one thing at the end. So we're 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, and then you're going to take your middle finger and go to the 3rd fret of the A string, and that's also a quarter note tied to an 8th note. So those 4 measures. Like that. So just like the the first part where it went through that cycle and then it repeated, and at the end of it, the second time through, it had it did that little harmonic thing just to kind of give it a way to like segue from that part into the next part. So I do the same thing on this when I segue into the next part, which is basically to play at a fourth lower. So we'll be playing it with E. So instead of being like, you can do the same thing, but just on the lower strings. Anyhow, we still got this other thing. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's see here. So when it repeats, so this is measure 13. This is the top of page 2. It starts off, the first 2 measures are the same as the other ones were. So this one here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we're going to do this this little lick here. This is a very kind of garden variety, pretty simple kind of a lick. And the reason I didn't do, I did this and didn't do anything more, complicated or whatever, is because it just really fits good. It really serves the song better than, like a sweeping arpeggio or something like that. So anyhow, this is a pretty done to death lick that it's in lots of other songs. What we're going to do, but if you're a beginner, or if you haven't done a lot of like legato style playing, this is a cool lick to learn. So we're going to start here on the G string, my first finger on the 2nd fret, and my 3rd finger on the 4th fret. So we're going to start with on the 4th fret, and I'm going to pick, and then I'm going to do a pull off to the 2nd fret, and then a pull off to the open string. Just like that. Okay, so for those who may don't have any idea how I did that, because like you're new to guitar, or just haven't done legato stuff yet or whatever. So I've got both of these fingers pressed down, like as if I was, gonna fret the note, or pick the note rather. So when I pick here, I'm going to take this finger. You don't want to just lift it up. You want to actually kind of drag it off so it's plucking the string like that. And then do the same thing with your first finger. Just pluck it. Yeah, you don't want where you're just lifting straight up, because it's not going to keep the string going like this is. So this is like kind of this is the basis for this entire, this whole lick is, and again, I need to look real quick to make sure that I'm not going to tell you how to do it wrong. Oh, okay, it's exactly what I thought. So you're going to do that on the G string, and then you're going to move to the D string and do the same thing, and then the A string. All right. So if you're, like I said, if you're a beginner or new or whatever, now when I move to the D string, you want to move both your fingers at the same time and set them both down, so that way you're ready to immediately start, playing it. Because let's see, how is this? Yeah, so this is all like a tuplet feel, It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So like I said, it's a pretty common. You probably recognize it from something. There's in Crazy Train, he does something similar to that at the beginning of it before the vocals start. It's like, similar type thing. But here you don't want it to be like really fast. You want it to kind of fit with how the riff was going. It's like, you know. Oh my gosh. All right. So we do the and then you're going to go to the 3rd fret of the low E string with your 2nd finger. Or wait a minute. Okay, that's weird. It's not on the tab. Maybe this is something I ad-libbed in later on and just don't realize it. Anyway, the way it is on the tab is as soon as you do the, you just hit the low E because that's when it changes to playing that same riff, but just a 4th lower. But what I liked was doing and then grabbing that and just giving a little bit of a bend and then dropping onto that E, because it's like you're doing an E, just like here is like an A5. This is like an E5 power chord. So the first thing you do is you'll have your 1st finger onto the 2nd fret of the A string, and it's that same riff, the 5, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, slide to 5, just like we did here. But a 4th lower. So it's just that exactly that same thing. All right, so that's the part, like I said, of the song that I thought of as like being a verse. So there's one other part that I kind of thought of as being like a chorus. But before we move to there, one, does anybody have any questions about any of this thus far? And also I wanted to show you kind of an alternative way that you can play that part. Instead of having it all, you know, you could do it like, you could kind of pick it out more, the notes more separately, kind of like how like that beginning riff was. I kind of like it with the chords. I think that that sounds good when it comes there, when you slide into that note. It kind of reminds me of AC/DC a little bit, like Malcolm Young style stuff, which I'm a big fan of. I really like his playing. All right, so no questions. All right, man. Well, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And you can always watch the rest of it on the rerun. And we do this every Wednesday at the same time. So hopefully see you next time. Yeah, you're all being kind of a quiet bunch tonight. Part of this is the whole Q&A thing. So if you got any questions, lay them on me. Well, the question, you go from the 1-4-5, right? Yeah, in a way, it's like, you know, you could have a 1-4-5 that would be A, you know, you could have like A, D, and E. But this is kind of really revolving around just the A and the E. And then when we get up into the chorus, it's different. So this is in A. So if we're A to to E is 5. So it's like this is like the 1-5, and we kind of left the 4 out of there, except it will make an appearance here when we get onto this next part. I hope that answers your question. And I'm assuming when you said 1-4-5, that's what you're referring to as the progression. Okay, so with a 1-4-5 chord progression, it doesn't have to be in the order. It doesn't have to be 1-4-5. It can just be those chords. Like, if you have like G, not straight up 4/4 time. It can be. You can play it just like really, really tight like that. So like if you're doing that, the or the you can play it straight, like that where just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. But you can also kind of slur those lines a little bit and make it more like a blues, like more have like a groove. Okay, well, if I answered your question, great. Oh, great. Okay, good. I'm glad that helped. All right, so that leaves us one section to go over. And well, actually, we need to also finish out the last part, is like how to get into this part. Yeah, you can break out of the straight time and just kind of make it have a little bit, so it just kind of blurs the lines a little bit, and I don't know, I just think I really like stuff like that. I think it just has more of a groove to it. Yeah, so a swing on it. Yes. Okay, so just like when we did this part, it had to transfer into this next part. So we do what we already did, now we're starting over again. So now we're at the top of page 3, is measure 21. So that third measure, now we're going to come up here to a G5 power chord. So first finger's on the 3rd fret of the low E, 3rd finger's on the 5th fret of the A string. And what we're going to do is we're going to play G5, and then we're going to move it up a half step, and then move it up a half step, and move it up. So we're going to go from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. And it's all like a triplet thing. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's what leads us into this part. I said it's like the chorus. So that last part, all right, so that's what leads us into this part here, that is what I was thinking of as being like the chorus for the song. So what it is that I'm taking E major, D major, C major, and then A5. So instead of playing the whole chord, I'm just playing the top end of it. So we're only playing just on the D and the G string. And you just do this with just your index finger. So we start off, we do a slide from nowhere to the 9th fret. And real quick for anybody that doesn't know what I mean by a slide from nowhere. So we're going here to the 9th fret. So let's say that it on there, if you look at there on the tab, you can see that it has the lines just coming from, there's no numbers before, just slide to the 9th fret. And the lines are coming from down and they're like pointing up to 9. So that means that you're going to start below and slide up to it. If they were aimed the other way, then you know, it might be like where you slide down. But let's say that it said that you slid from the 5th fret to the 9th, that you'd pick on 5 and slide to 9. But a slide from nowhere, you can just basically start wherever you want. You just pick and slide simultaneous. So instead of pick, slide, it's pick and slide together. All right, so the timing on this part is kind of weird. So when we slide into it, it's an 8th note. So this is the downbeat of 1. And then we pick it again on the and of 1, and it rings out for the downbeat of 2. And then on the and of 2, we pick it again and let it ring out for the downbeat of 3 and the and of 3, and then 2 more 8th notes at the end. So it's kind of a weird timing. I mean, it isn't something that it's really comfortable to just kind of to count, but you can count it out like that, and then you know where everything's supposed to be. You can look at the notes to see that, okay, well, a quarter note rings out twice as long as an 8th note, and then a dotted quarter note rings out 50% longer. It can kind of help you to get the timing. So that's the first measure. And then on the next measure, we do another slide from nowhere to the 7th fret, and it's 1 and 2, and then we slide from nowhere to the 5th fret, and then down to A. So it's like. Now, when we hit this A, that's on the downbeat of 4, and it's tied to the down, or it's the whole beat of 4. It's the downbeat and the because it's quarter note, and then it's tied to the next measure, the first 8th note. So the downbeat of 1, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put our third finger onto our second finger onto the 3rd fret of the A string. So this is like 4, 1, and then on the and of 4, we just hit the D and G string. And then on the downbeat of 2, we come back to that again with just a little bit of a bend on it. So it's. Then it's got this little riff here at the end. So we got. Whoops. All right, so after we do then we have 2 A's. Then you can just keep your finger held there, or you can, keep it there for right now. And then take your second finger, go to the 3rd fret of the A string, and then you hammer onto the 4th fret, and then you pick up the second fret of the G string. Now, if you've got your first finger already barred here, you can just do that, but I like to be able to grab it so I can put some vibrato in it. And then it would just repeat. So it's like, all right, so that is the, like I said, the part that I call the chorus. So when I had the recording that I did of this song a million years ago has, as soon as it gets to the end of that, it went back into that main riff again. Anyway, that is all of the parts to it. Said it's just something just a riff I put together a long time ago, and I just thought it'd be something kind of cool to show you guys, just so you can kind of just see some different ways that you can do stuff with the blue, like the core of the blues, but like a little more rockin'. That's always what I was like with it. It's a rockin' blues, but dirty blues just sounds cooler, I think. What advice do you have for beginners learning the guitar? Well, find if possible, find a good teacher that you can sit down with one-on-one and take lessons that way. It's a much better, much faster progress than doing it like off of YouTube videos and stuff like that. And there ain't nothing wrong with doing that, but it's a lot faster of a process if you have somebody actually sitting there that can show you stuff and can like watch you play and correct mistakes that you be making, because that's like a pretty normal, for whatever reason, the way we naturally feel like we should do things is almost always wrong. And some of them are like ways that seem like the natural to me were like actually really detrimental. They were bad. But yeah, try to do that if possible. If not, there's tons and tons of good information, like websites and YouTube videos and stuff that you can learn stuff from. But you just got to put in the time. Anybody can learn how to play. Not everybody's going to become, like, Steve Vai or something like that, but everybody can learn how to play. I've been teaching private lessons since 1987, and I've never had a student that I was just like, well, this person just isn't going to be able to play. I've just never felt that way. So yeah, just kind of stick with it and put in the time. There is no shortcuts. It's all a matter. It's practice, just practice. I'm still trying to get timing down right. The blues rock. It's so hard to teach yourself something you don't know how to, even if you have video. Yeah. I mean, I guess I have like somewhat of a biased opinion because everything that I learned was long, like when I was like learning how to initially play, it was long before the internet or YouTube or anything like that. And later on, after I'd been playing for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, that was when you could buy like the instructional VHS tapes. I had like a Paul Gilbert one and watched that a billion times and tried to learn the things that were on there. But I can't imagine. I just don't know if it's something that if I was trying to play now, I don't know if I could just watch somebody on YouTube doing lessons, if I'd be able to get it from that. I was a slow learner. The slowest learner I've ever seen was me. Oh, you've completely learned you just taught yourself from videos. Yeah, that's cool. The only other thing that I've kind of seen sometimes with that is I've had students before that were teaching themselves how to play from, whether it was from YouTube or they bought instructional videos. And since there wasn't anybody to correct some of the weird things they were doing with technique or posture, they developed some bad habits that was like really hard to kind of to break. Oh, you didn't start playing until you was 32? Yeah, me neither. um, yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people really do really well that way, and then the biggest thing I've just seen is that just sometimes it's like bad picking up bad technique or just like weird little bad habits. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I teach because it's like, it's part of my income. But I really like to do it. I mean, I take pride in doing. I try to do a really good job, and not everybody is the same. Some people just like pick up on stuff like really fast, and other people it takes them longer. I mean, there's certain licks and songs and riffs and things like that that I teach everybody, and there are some people that riff one here. This guy he picked it up really quick, and then this guy over here it was really hard. But then on riff number 2, it was really easy for this guy, but for this guy, it was hard. And they weren't really any different. It's just everybody's different. All right. So, anybody else have any questions? Oh, you are welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. I guess you didn't really have to come out anywhere. Thanks for turning on your computer tonight. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions or anything, then we can wrap this up. Still got a little bit more time if anybody's got any, but if not, then well, soon as we hang up, it'll be available to watch as a rerun, and you can still, even if you didn't get the tabs yet, you still can. It doesn't like go away or whatever. All right, great. That's awesome. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. A lot of fun as usual. I hope you like what I showed you tonight, what I had prepared for you. So like I said before, if you have ideas for things you'd like to see covered or whatever, leave them in the comments, and I'll check that out. And if you like this, you like what I'm doing, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up on this video, and do it like in the video, like go to the rerun, like later on or tomorrow, and hit the like button there again, because it counts it twice. Leave comments, all that kind of stuff. Lets them know that I'm doing a good job and that I can continue to do this for you. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good night.